Hi, and welcome to Pat Bear's Anime Club, Halloween edition. So I changed the font color. Did you notice? I don't know if you noticed. Anyway, every other Monday I make a video for Pat Bear's Anime Club where I look at a topic or a theme or often a review of previous seasons or a preview of the next season. Talk about the shows I'm watching, that kind of thing. But it is October, and I wanted to do another video where I looked at. Let me click over. Halloween shows that aren't spooky. That's right. I did this previously because I am not one for frights and for the kind of like horror themed shows. This current season, there is a show which is either a remake of Higurashi When They Cry or it is a reimagining because they changed the name from Higurashi When They Cry 2020 to Gao or something. I don't know. I don't really pay attention. I don't watch horror anime. Last year I watched another because as a attempt to watch something that was kind of spooky and disturbing. But that's not my bag. That's not my usual thing. And you can see in the show description below here in the YouTube video a link to my previous stuff last year for some shows. I'm going to recommend some other ones that kind of fit the theme of being things you could watch at Halloween if you didn't want to watch things that are really spooky, really scary. Now, I will add a caveat to this. Um, One of the four shows I'll be talking about in this video is definitely not like light and fluffy. It is definitely an action series, and a gory series. But I don't think it's horror. I think it's more action. It's just more violence, and the violence happens to be monsters. So, I'll talk about that when we get there. But I did want to start talking about the lightest of light shows. This is if you're just like, well, it has a mummy in it, so I guess it counts. But mostly it's just a show that's cute, and I think you should watch it. And it's called How to Keep a Mummy. It is the lightest of shows. You got your young man here. He's already got a cool little dog, and then a little mummy shows up there, and it's just a cute little mummy that can't really talk, can't really communicate, kind of childlike. And then as it goes, well, we got an Oni demon, we got a dragon, we got I forget the name of that creature there, but it eats dreams, and luckily ends up meeting with a guy who has nightmares all the time, so he eats his nightmares, and the guy can get a good night's sleep. Uh, the episode 11 is when actual drama happens out of 12. It's mostly just an exploration. There's a talking like statue that's very fun. That kind of explains some of the stuff that's going on. There's some other fun creatures that come in there. It is generally just an exploration of friendship and taking care of something. And honestly, it's this cute little mummy that shows up that really opens up the world and brings these characters together. And you get a lot of growth, and it's fun. And yes, it has towards the end, there are some moments that are like, oh, there's a cliffhanger, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, that this show's going there. But mostly it's just like pretty lighthearted fun, and it's just growth of people and some real fun, silly times. They're adorable when they play together, when they're all together, and then as you get to know the characters more, you get a better sense of what's going on in their world. And it's just cute and fun, and if you want something that is very light and very slice of lifey, very chill, but has some monster stuff going on in it, this is the one. Now, if you're saying, Pat, I want monsters and goblins and ghosts and a cat god and like but also I want it to be like a romantic comedy that is sometimes etchy. And are there could there be like a ninja? Well, then you might want to check out Yuna and the Haunted Hot Spring. And I'm just noticing right now that this art is kind of pixelated here. It's not as crisp as some of the other art that I'll be showing here, and I apologize for that. But I wanted a good cast photo because I wanted you to see the many people that would be in this house. You've got yourself a luck spirit who's the caretaker there. Um, you've got your she just might look like the drunk character. She is. She's also an ogre. She's also not. She's not really a mate. She's a supporting character. You've got a girl who has a cat god living inside her, so she's very cat-like. Tamed with fish, literally. You've got your ninja who is there and is often a foil for our main dude, but is in general. She's very supportive and a good go-to. And there's also some things like, am I feminine? Am I interested? Like, there are different points where different people have different crushes on our dude. And then Yuna. Yuna's a ghost. She died. And she doesn't necessarily know what her unfinished business is, because usually that's what it is. But over time, ghosts that are kept in this world that don't go over can become corrupted and lose their identity. So we're not really sure what her unfinished business is. Oh, and then you got your main dude. And this is just the problem is that he gets possessed. He can get possessed by people. So he's actually a master martial artist because he was and a chef because he's been over time possessed by different people. Now he's learned, luckily, because he was often possessed, he's learned how to channel that and how to become basically like a warrior monk. Like he can exorcise demons and ghosts with his fist, and he's really strong because he was trained somewhat against his will, because sometimes people's unfinished business required him to go through extensive training and learning things. But also you can see this embarrassed expression. This is an ecchi romantic comedy that has between a guy and a ghost. I mean, that's what it is. There's a lot of she wakes up and gets embarrassed, and then she uses her poltergeist activities and sends him flying, and he's kind of getting used to it because he's staying in her room, and she won't leave because she's a ghost, and he won't leave because the rent is very cheap, and he just needs to stay someplace and whatever. There's a fox ghost as well. There's like a regular old human just kind of hanging out. And a lot of the episodes are like two-parters, and they're just like, oh, here's something of this, here's something of that. There is some drama. There are people who are out there to forcibly exercise Yuna. There are people out there to kidnap various folks for a little bit. And do characters at some point have things happen to them that are inappropriate and played out for laughs or for embarrassment? Yeah. So, if that's not your game, and that's not your deal, then don't watch it. But if you're looking for things like, I don't know, a love story with a ghost and a dude and some other characters having fun and doing their thing, and you think the idea of a cat god is pretty fun, the first episode, I'd say watch the first episode. You get a little bit of everything. You get set up for your want, and there's certainly some action in the first episode that you don't see for a little while. I personally wish there was more action in the show and less of the goofiness, but that's not the show. So that's on me more than it's on the show. And now let's get into some more action. I said I wish there was more action. Let's talk about a show where you've got monsters, you've got vampires, you've got literal hell, the hell dimension invading our own and twisting our own reality. And that is Blood Blockade Battlefront. And then the sequel is Blood Blockade Battlefront Beyond. So it's BBB and then BBB. This is a straight up action series. Blood arts is a thing in this show, so if that idea is terrible to you, then you could just pass on it. There's one dude here that uses ice arts, which is nice, but it's ice blood arts. There's a lot going on. There's a really great cast, really interesting action. The story kind of unfolds and takes its time. There's some drama in it, even though a lot of it is light and kind of silly. The drama definitely unfolds, especially in Beyond, kind of focusing on a more personal story. But even the first season, basically, the lines between dimensions got all messed up, and then one city got real weird, and everything is weird in it, including all the people in it that were gifted various powers, and they're trying to like bring some sense of balance to it. Um, there's great support characters, incredible, wonderful minor characters. You feel for some of the villains of the show, which is always nice. They're not just whatever. I mean, they are monsters and vampires and all that, but sometimes you're like, oh, okay. And there's some just cool, beautiful visual fight scenes, like really well done fight scenes. Um, and the blending, there's some CG certainly, but it's blended in kind of seamlessly with the digital. It doesn't stand out. It's not like, It's just like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. So I highly recommend it if you're looking for something that's like, oh, it got some action to it, and got some monsters in it, but also has like some heart. It's got a lot of heart. And we're gonna wrap this video up with an anime you can watch now that has no heart. If it has a heart, the heart has been eaten. Hellsing. I don't think I've ever talked about Hellsing on this video series before. Time to talk about it. Helsing is an action show. It is the main character is a vampire. He's the best vampire. I am specifically going to be talking about here Hellsing Ultimate, the OVA from 2006. So yeah, the year 2006, they released this 10-part OVA, and it's the best way to watch it, I think. The dub is good. I have seen some of these episodes in dub. I prefer subtitles myself, but go as you will. Hey, if you want to see vampires, or particularly a vampire, just beat up some ancient evil Nazis, this is a show for you. If you're like, I could really go for that. Yeah. If you like a character who is doing the right thing, but clearly is doing it because they need to, not because they want to. There's some very cool stuff here. It's some trippy and weird stuff. Maybe some of it doesn't make sense. It eventually does. Maybe some of it never makes any sense. And it is incredible fight scenes. It is gory. It is violent. It is messed up on purpose. So this is bloody. This is not light. I'm not talking about a lighter. I said Halloween shows that aren't spooky. This isn't spooky. It's not jump scares. It's not, but it is disturbing in some ways. So caveats for that. This is not a lighter. This is not How to Keep a Mummy. But it is, I think, like, I don't know, sometimes on Halloween you just want kind of that kind of horror, like that kind of bloody vengeance. And I think the characters are really well done. I think that the story is weird but enjoyable. And yeah, sometimes you want to watch an anti-hero, You kind of get the sense, this is Dracula. Dracula's not necessarily doing this, but also like nobody's great. Nobody is awesome. Nobody is like, I'm on board. I mean, even the happy-go-lucky, for hire gang that ends up helping out. Those aren't great dudes. They're good dudes, but they're not great dudes. Yeah, visually is really great, and if you, like I said, you want to see some Nazis get theirs, that's a thing for you. And I think that's gonna do it. I kind of wanted to make this a little shorter than some of my other videos just because the last two were so long. One was an hour, one was over an hour. My bonus was 20 minutes. Like, I want to get a few shorter ones. Now, what's coming up for the rest of the year here? I'll probably do another Christmas Pat Baer's Anime Club later in the year. Last year, I did my Halloween shows that aren't spooky like too late in the month. So I want to do this early in October so that I can talk about it and you can watch it and then you can get some plans. So my next video won't have anything to do with that, but my next one, I think I scheduled it. Yes, I'm going to talk about, hey, it's going to be another second episode or return, which is Pet Peeves Part 2, because there are always going to be more pet peeves. And it kind of got reminded because one of my pet peeves in there is a preview for the next video, is there's a show this season this past season that had a Journey to the West reference, and I just I can't with Journey to the West and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I need I need them to take a break. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it there. Um, Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. In the show description below, I put the names of all the shows so you can go to because.moe and type in and find out if you can watch it in your region. I believe that the first three are all on Crunchyroll, and Hellsing Ultimate is on Funimation. So you should be able to find those, but you can search for that as well. In the comments below, let me know about your non-spooky ones. I talked about, as I said, I'm going to link to the previous one. But yeah, do you have you have a show that you like that has monsters and ghosts that it's not scary. It's not going to terrify you. Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you got pet peeves that you want me to include in the next video, and I haven't said them in the previous one, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see. And as always, you can just tell me what you're watching. I'm watching a lot of shows because there's a lot this season. So let me know what you're checking out. And thanks so much for watching Pat Bear's Anime Club. I will see you on the next one. And yeah, happy holidays. Bye-bye.